Welcome to Subramani. So I've been asked this question, what are the rules, what are your learnings from creating a portfolio? So how do you go and create a nine digit or a 10-digit portfolio, and how much time does it take? And well, you have got to be lucky about that, there is no doubt, because maybe right time, right place. The fact that I was in Ghatkopar, which is a Gujarati dominated place where everybody and his aunt and uncle invest in equities, helped. I was soaked in equities by the time I was in class 12. I knew there is a share market and this is what happens. It works from 11 to 3. Remember those days it used to be 11 to 3 and then it got changed from 9 to 3:30. Right, so those kind of things, it was just soaked in. I was naturally not a big spender, so not much expense on lifestyle or things like that. The only thing I have spent in the past and continue to spend is on travel. I travel reasonably comfortably, and I visit places which are not really cheap, but they're not very expensive also. Stay cost in many of these places is not much, and food cost is anyway not much. So yes, I go there, I have fun. So therefore, whatever I earned, a lot of it could be used for compounding. I also manage my father's portfolio, where he allowed me to do what I want. So I started pretty young. When I tell you I started in class 12, it was obviously my father's money. My own money came much later, after I finished my CA and things like that. So maybe 24, 25 is when it came, and then I started managing my own money. But obviously it was much smaller than what I was managing for my father. And also that is the time when I started managing money for other people, and then one thing led to the other. I became a member of the National Stock Exchange through a friend. I mean, a few of us put together some amount of money, and we became a corporate card carrying member of the National Stock Exchange. So we had access to Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange, and that's where I started making money and learning the trade as such. Investing is something which I was doing earlier, so here we learned trade, as to how people trade and things like that, which I was not a big trader earlier. Even now I was not a trader, but yes, I learned what kind of mistakes which people make, etc. Power of compounding always fascinated me. Investing in companies which will grow the dividend also interested me. So companies like Coromandel International, I remember when I started off, when I bought the initial maybe 500 shares, the market cap was nothing compared to what it is today. 1% of the company could be bought for about 90 lakhs, let's say almost 1 crore. Today 1% is 230 crores, so it's a 230 bagger, plus it has paid dividends. A company which was, I was told by one of India's leading investors, Subra, how can this make money? It is in a government controlled sector like fertilizer, and what will happen? Will it make money? But since 1986 it has made me money. So some of these calls going right, and my father applying in these MNC companies which were being driven out of India, which is Colgate, Lever, Siemens, Cummins, Pfizer, Park Davis. Park Davis became Pfizer, and Hogana, Skoda, and all those things. He applied and got some minimum 50 shares or 100 shares. So, and sticking on with it for a long period of time. So the question to ask is, do you want to keep doing these things for all your life? You look into an office and you find a 50-year-old or a 60-year-old sitting and working, and then you ask yourself, do you want to do this for the rest of your life? If the answer is no, go out and do something different, right? So I never took up a job, and I was always in practice. And then, yeah, the one thing led to the other. Read a lot. Took to training. Training was always very easy, simply because I used to train mostly on equity. So equity markets was anyway there in my blood. So teaching equity was a pleasure, and I did a lot of work, and that's it. So the question is, what all should you do? I don't know, because largely I can only say what I did and how I benefited. But very important, some of the things which I learned and later on which I also found out to be true is you have to know where you want to go. You cannot go where your neighbor wants to go, right? So you find your vehicle for going wherever you want to go. So suppose I want to go to New York, and my friend gives me his Mercedes, and I reach the airport. I cannot sit there and say, wow, this car is great, let me not get down. I'll take the same vehicle to go to New York. It's not going to happen, right? I have to change my vehicle. So during your investments, sometimes you will be happy with what you're doing, sometimes you'll have to make changes in what you're doing, right? So what all should you do? First, create a system. An SIP is a system, right? Taking term insurance makes sense, so maybe take term insurance. Pay yourself first, because you already have a goal list, you know what you should do. So when you get 100 rupees, you know how much to allocate to retirement, how much to children's education, etc., etc. So create that system will work. There is absolutely no doubt that the system will work. Second, dealing with the media is not very easy, because we all come on TV and keep saying now this market will do this, market will do that. That's our view, and our views have been wrong for very long periods of time, right? So don't just get carried away by some expert talk. Check out experts' veracity over a long period of time, maybe at least 6 months, 8 months. You see what he said, what happened in the market. There is data available like that today. So pull out this data, use this, and find where you stand, right? So ignoring market predictions is something very important, because nobody really knows what the market is going to do, right? So if you have picked up some good mutual fund schemes, let's say you picked up Nifty or small cap fund, index fund, things like that, just do nothing. Just continue your SIP. If it's a rising SIP, even better, because this year you're doing 10,000, next year I'm sure you can afford 11,000. So based on all that, make sure that the system works, make sure there is adequate money on the due date, make sure that all the bills are getting paid on the dot, maybe through your credit card to get some points. Put a system in place for everything, right? So in case you have not made a will, make a will, or decide that you will make a will, you'll remake a will every few years, right? Teach your family how to manage the money, right? All these things are pretty useful, and once you have set the system in place and the deductions, etc., are happening, literally do nothing, right? That's exactly what you should be doing. Thank you.